Can you say attitude adjustment? You remember when you were a kid and you asked dad for something he knew you shouldn't have and he says no and you get all lippy? Dear old dad sits you down and you're looking like... And he's just adjusting on your attitude. You try to interrupt. You try to look big and he's like, and another... Welcome to the Dog House. Let's talk about Zelensky. So the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky had a press conference with Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, etc. And Trump outlines for like 40 minutes that they've reached a deal that will ultimately end in a ceasefire from Russia and put American bodies in Ukraine to act as a deterrent to keep Russia from attacking while they mine raw earth, his words. He also states that a meeting is scheduled for later that day in which they will sign the deal.
I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back.
So Zelensky comes back with, no, ceasefire not good enough. Russia breaks ceasefire many times.
About security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees.
Basically that we must commit to protecting them. Pause. What Zelensky fails to realize here is that America is just exhausted with protecting people. We protect everybody, and it's about time they get to a place where they can protect themselves. Take Japan, for example. After we signed the Potsdam Declaration after their surrender in World War II, we effectively told them, you're not allowed to have a military. We'll have to take care of you because you can't be trusted with munitions. That was, let me check, 80 years ago. We've been paying a lot of money for this stuff for 80 years, and now we're fighting with Japan like, bro, you need to get your own defense together. And they're like, but Potsdam, we have the original contract and everything. Cheaper for you protect because...
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
We don't want another Japan situation. So anyways, at one point, Trump points out that Russia has devastated Ukrainian cities to the point where they're unrecognizable. So Zelensky interrupts him. No, our cities are fine. You must be hearing this from Russia that they are destroying us, but our country is intact. He's pleading his case. We have color TV, Taco Tuesdays, and like you, Mr. President, we are tired from so much winning.
Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No,
and a lot of
things
Mr.
President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people. 700,000 soldiers he lost everything. Yes. Sure.
Trump looked a little funny at it, but he ultimately went back to the deal because that's what's going to get this thing done.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world.
So here's where it gets good, and from this exchange I learned two things. Trump mentioned a ceasefire again, which I swear has to be a trigger word for Zelensky. He interrupts again. No, ceasefire not enough. Russia break not enough. Must protect. The first thing I learned, never ever trust a Marine Corps veteran not to call BS. It doesn't matter how important you think you are. And this is why this president will win. The extent to which all of these people have each other's backs.
Yeah, please. I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. He broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good
Brad,
position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
I'm
Yeah,
very
you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What
III.
what are you
You're
thinking
gambling
about?
with
What are you
World
thinking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to your
far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank you?
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
what
of
are you speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if
West
you didn't
You
have our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on over here.
sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
it doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
that wasn't
what
with me.
It
that was with
you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
But this
that
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
President. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy, and I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think, huh?
So in short, baby got grounded. No deal later today. We're not signing Jack until you realize Daddy's always right. I wonder how the media will try to spin this one. Because liberal, if you like what I do, please leave a like. They really help. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.
Mr. President, is there no deal? Mr. President, can you tell us what happened? Is the deal off? President Zelensky, can you tell us what happened?